You're probably wondering, what's this idiot doing in Glamourous? Well, I'm going to tell you a story about Formula One, Le Mans, all that glamorous side of motorsport. Right then, so my trusty steed for today is going to be this thing on the Vespa in full touring spec because I'm going miles. I've known about this story for 5 years, and the reason I've known about it for 5 years is because it's 5 years ago that my wife told me about it, and in true terms I've done absolutely nothing. I basically ignored her, as you do. Now, what people don't realise is that in the glitz and glamour of Formula One and Le Mans, it wasn't always like that. And you know, we look at exotic sports cars like, for example, McLarens, Lotus, Ferraris, all those kind of things. They're big and glitzy companies these days. But once upon a time they weren't. One such company was to see fame and fortune in the world of endurance racing. Marcos. I've done well at Le Mans several times. Sometimes I haven't, but it's a tough old game. Marcos was established by Jim Marsh and Frank Costin, and they were in a shed, an old stable probably, in Lion Yard, which is out the back of the Royal Golden Lion Hotel, I think that's the correct name, in Dogethley, however you want to pronounce it. Jim Marsh and Frank Costin built what became the Marcos sports cars, and the Marcos and Mini Marcos, and they did really well at Le Mans. Now, Frank Costin was a bit of an innovator. He was originally employed at de Havilland's, who I think were in Hatfield and Radlett sort of area, and those that know anything about their warplanes in the Second World War will be thinking, aha, I know what you're going to say. You're going to talk about the Mosquito bomber. Yeah, and it was made out of wood. Exactly. And that's where the link is. So Costin knew a bit about wood, and he designed the, if you like, the chassis for the Marcos. And what they did was they built a wooden chassis, closed it in the new wonder material, which was GRP, glass reinforced plastic. Now the thing is that Frank Costin's a bit of an innovator, and once he's done one thing he wants to move on to another. So he left the Marcos operation, Jim Marsh and Frank Marcos. So he left that partnership behind and he moved, and there he designed a selection of vehicles. Not only did he design them, but he built them. And his business empire, for want of a better word, we're going to go and find it today. In fact, I've already driven past what was the company offices at one stage. Now, when we say business empire, honestly, it sounds daft. Frank designed countless lap record winning rather, and championship contending vehicles, up to and including Formula One. As I say, he's had fast lap times at Montclair on the bank circuits. He's done all sorts, or his design stuff. Obviously he wasn't always driving, and some of this work was really undertaken with other people. Now for that you need to, you know, if you're going to be working with innovative materials and at the spearhead of motorsport, you're going to need a fairly glitzy environment, aren't you? I mean, let's face it, we've all seen the likes of McLaren, Ferrari, etc., all on telly. Their premises are not what you call basic, are they? So my first stop is going to be what I'm going to call his main or first workshop. From what I can gather, it's sort of really where most of it has taken place. Now Roger Naylor, who, if you go and watch JM on Cars, a brilliant YouTube channel, if ever there was one, and if you don't subscribe to it, you really ought to, because his output is absolutely stunning. Anyway, he has actually recently interviewed Roger Naylor, and Roger will tell you all about his successes. Come on, I really want you to go first for a reason. Right, so he will tell you all about his successes, and they are multiple. Anyway, he gets Frank Costin to design this unbelievable machine, the Costin Naylor it became, and the monocoque for that was built out of the wonder material that is plywood. Now remember, Costin came from the delights of de Havilland, where they built the Mosquito, the wooden wonder. Yep, you're getting it right here. Now I'm going to go and see if I can get you a view of the back of the workshops first before I show you the, well, hey, that's a big boy, before I show you the frontage, because it is pretty amazing. Now remember, we are what Roger Naylor described as halfway up a mountain in Wales, and he got beaten back by the snow the first time he tried to come up here, according to the interview with JM. This is an absolutely magnificent little village. This is Cwmglo in Gwynedd. As you can see, I've just come from Llanberis, and it's literally, what, just a few minutes up the road. As I say, I'm going to go and have a look at the rear of the property first, because, you know, we expect these frontages to be glitz, glamour, etc. Once upon a time, yeah, this is where we're talking about glamour. Once upon a time, the property over here, all here, was an abattoir, and then it became the workshops of Frank Costin, and here he built the extremely innovative plywood monocoque for a wide variety of machines. We could even buy road sports cars. Massive thank you to Eric Bayliss for this photo of the Costin Amigo. That's left to right, it's Ron Costin, Les White, Eric Bayliss, and a Rob somebody or other. Ron Costin being Frank's son, but we'll talk about family connections again soon. Yeah, this could be described as the cradle of the crucible of motorsport. It's a bakery. It's not even a bakery now. The guy that owned it subsequently is retired. But that there was where Frank Costin built Formula 1 and Le Mans racing machines, national championship winners, lap record holders all over Europe. Amazing that, isn't it? But it's not the only place, you know. If that's not exotic enough for you, let's go off and find another place. There's two other places he built while he was up here. where he built his cars. So you're probably thinking Costin. Have I heard that name before? I'm sure I've heard that name before. Well, you have in terms of Marcos, because I've been whittling on about it for ages. He had a brother. I think his name was Brian. I could be wrong, but we'll go with Brian. If it's different, I'll stick it down. And his brother met a bloke called Keith. No, they didn't form a boy band. No. They formed a little mechanical tinkering business, I'm going to call it. Had a bit of promise actually, and it was called Cosworth. Yeah, so the Costin brothers are pretty pivotal in the world of motorsport. So we've got not just the design of cars, but the design of some pretty amazing power plants. Now, when you think that the DFV Cosworth was the brilliant and possibly the most successful ever Formula 1 racing engine to date, yeah, it's a pretty amazing thing. Hello! There we go. I had to go and get that photo taken. Fits in with the period nature of the bike. The bike looks old-fashioned, the pumps are old-fashioned. They're not that old-fashioned because look, it's got unleaded. Anyway, back to the real world. So, there's his brother making the world's most successful Formula 1 engine, and he's producing out of wood his machines. Silverstone Museum, according to JM, is where you can actually see one of the Costin nailers. There are a few Costin Amigo sports cars, road cars, still available, still around. The moulds are definitely being looked after by a devotee of the mark in mid South Wales. There is also one of them that regularly attends shows, and if you go to the legend that is Hubnut, his channel, you can there see it. There was at a show quite recently. Hubnut does a really nice introduction to it and quick walk around. I believe that one had a DKW engine. Now the Costin nailers, from what I learned watching the, as I say, brilliant interview that JM did, that's beautiful, that river. They used heavily modified Hillman imp engines, because you've got to remember we had a really lightweight vehicle, and at Monteleri it appears they could completely outrun the entire Works Abarth team, who were not short of a few lira at the time. So as well as the workshop at Cumaglaw, he had, this is Frank, Costin. He had a workshop in what I can only describe as a most unlikely place. But not only was it a really unlikely place, but it has pretty amazing views. Now, that's currently a residential property, and because it's a residential property, I'm not able really to do too much in my filming, but we'll get a little bit done. So this is a village called Wine. A lot of you English people, when they first see it being mentioned, they snigger quite a lot and become very immature. And if I showed you a road sign, you'd probably understand why. I keep waffling on how Frank Costin's done Formula 1 car as well as Le Mans and all this kind of stuff. The Formula 1 car he built was a Protus, and he built it for Brian Hart was the driver. I wasn't the most successful of vehicles, but it was a Formula 1 car, and it can't be denied. It started and it was used in Formula 1. I believe it finished as well. Anyway, Brian Hart's another name, and it proves how incestuous all this stuff is. Brian Hart, I sat there when I first heard about this and I thought, Brian Hart, I know that name. What on earth is it? Brian Hart, not Tony Hart, you at the back, I heard you. No, he's not Vision On. Do 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 do. No, not him. Brian Hart became a race engine builder and quite successful as well. So Hart Racing Engines, yes, that's where I'd heard it from. Now we're just entering a place here called Glamourous. As I say, a lot of people think, oh yes, it does remind them of sort of a bit like a road in the Alps, sort of snaking its way up. It's best viewed from back up the hill up there. Yeah, so the last place you can expect to find Formula 1 cars are around here, isn't it? You know, but no, another claim to fame for this area. My word, is there any end to it? Well, hey. So this is Glamourous. Over there is the seaside. You can't probably see it. We're about 1,000 foot up as we get up here. There's some quite strange people live here. I should know. I did for a while. Right, so I'm going to have to pull over and stop. So bear with me. And this is Glamourous, which is what I believe to be the second of the 3 factories that we're talking about. And yes, there we go, workshop on the left, house on the right. So that there is definitely where some of Frank Costin's marvellous monocoques were made. I could be wrong, but I do think that might be where the Formula 1 car was made, but I could be wrong. Alright, so please don't take it as being gospel truth that it was, but certainly some of his cars were built there at Glamourous. So he had one other factory, so it's quite windy up here and quite horrible, so let's try and lose a bit of altitude. Now this is the quickest, most direct route I can use to get where I want to be to the next part. Now the thing is, with Formula 1 and Le Mans, cars go around in circles, and essentially they go on what's called a circuit, don't they? We all know that. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. Well, guess what? That's exactly what we've done. We're doing a circuit, and we are going to end up down in Glamourous, down there, in a while, but not before I get down here. Impressive work by these cyclists. So we started over there, just out of view round the corner, and we went through there, up the hill, and we're coming back down, and we will end up over there, all things being equal. And if I get it right, we'll even do sort of a bit of a figure eight, you know, just like your Scalextrics tracks. Yeah, that's a bit of a memory for some people. Did you have a Scalextric set? They were brilliant. I've still got loads of Scalextric bits. I should get them out one day, really. Most of it doesn't work. Well, that down there, well, that's a driveway to a little community down there. It's also part of the circular walk round Llynpadon. That's the footpath part, the official part, and you know where the pathway goes because it's identified by some posts with different colour bands depending on the walk. And here you can probably see the white band on the post, and that's the all circular walk. Okay, so we've left Fachwin behind. We're penciling here with the head of the lake. You won't have seen it, but there's someone swimming, some spot of open water swimming out there. Llynpadon is home to the Arctic Charter and some swans and lots of wild swimmers, paddle boarders and all sorts. We're going to be going to the right. We're not going to go across the bridge that I normally go across. Well, not at the moment anyway. I might treat you to that if you're well behaved. A really old road sign here. Bryn Vale. Okay, now I can't tell you with much confidence about this, but this is Caban. It's a cafe, restaurant, business centre, community centre, etc, etc, etc. Okay, now this location is where Frank had some other workshop where he also did some building. So there we go. That's all the workshops he had, all three workshops. We've had the Cumaglo, we've had the Gartivoil, and then we had the Bryn Vale. And I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up. Honda Insight, yay! Also, there's normally a Tesla, and I keep trying to get a time when they're together, so you can get like the generations of electric car. There's also a Lisson Leaf somewhere around. I've never seen all three together. I've seen the delights that is the Tesla and the Insight together, but I've never had a camera with me, i.e. I've never had my phone with me when I've been there. So we're now going to head back into Glamourous. Here we are back at Pentlyn. It's looking quite dark. It's actually very windy now. It was glorious this morning. Unfortunately, I had jobs I had to do, so I couldn't come out and give you the better solution. Which is a bright and shiny video full of lovely weather. Right, let's now head straight down to the final stop, which is Glamourous. My plans for the opening shots for this video today, I'm going to blame JM on cars, okay? JM, it's all your fault, dear boy, for producing such excellent content. There I was, getting ready to pop out, and I suddenly realised I'd not seen this video. It's a 2-hour video about Roger and his exploits and his work with Frank Austin, etc, etc. It is absolutely superb, really engrossing. The guy is a living legend, he really is. Assuming, you know, when you watch this, the chap is still up and around. The guy is absolutely amazing. So I was going to be producing a nice sunlit video because it was lovely and bright and sunny at the time, and you'd have me pulling up outside a cafe, sauntering over seductively to a table, whereupon I would, let's wave to the PCSOs, and yes, then I was going to saunter seductively over to the table and sup an espresso or a cappuccino and chat away and explain some wondrous things. Okay, what happened? No, I decided to watch this flaming video instead, which, to be honest, was really helpful and it was really wonderful, and I was engrossed. So yeah, 2 hours completely engrossed in some of JM's work. His videos aren't normally that long, but they are normally that good that you really, once you watch them, you don't want to stop. The blue building here used to be the offices for his enterprise, so that was the original plan. It hasn't worked. It works even worse when you've got vans going past, doesn't it? But yeah, so there we go. That's the offices that Frank Austin had, the man who created the wooden wonder that was able to beat the best in the world. Nothing like a bit of plywood, eh? Anyway, I hope you found that interesting. Don't forget to like, subscribe and all that other rubbish. Really helps the channel, doesn't cost you anything. And hopefully you'll join me for another video soon. Cheers, thanks.